Psycho Killer in the Mountains is not just a hike, it's a nightmare. A group of friends sets out for a weekend of fun, but when a masked killer stalks their every move, survival becomes their only goal. Can they escape the grip of terror in the wilderness? Before we reveal their chilling fate, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for more spine-tingling movie recaps. Let's dive in. At the beginning of the movie, a group of 5 young friends gets ready for a trip to Croatia to hike and climb mountains. The friend group consists of a trained hiker couple, Fred and Catherine, a nurse Cleo, her boyfriend Lot, and their friend Guillaume. Before they start the trip, Fred asks Lot if he is comfortable with Guillaume joining them, since Guillaume has had a crush on Lot's girlfriend Cleo for a long time. Lot says it's fine and the group sets off for the trip, unknown to what's coming to them. The drive up to the trail is awkward and uncomfortable for Cleo as Guillaume tries flirting with her. A while later, they reach a steep mountain, which they hadn't known about earlier. Fred, who has experience in mountain climbing, climbs up first and sets a rope, harness and hooks for the others. Everyone else follows Fred behind the seemingly dangerous path. Lot, who is terrified of heights, complains throughout the climb as Cleo encourages him to move forward as the group continues to climb. They realize the trail is not as easy as they thought. Moreover, they are exploring an area not certified as a hiking trail for adventure, so they don't know if the hike will get any easier. A while later, the group reaches an old and tiny rope bridge, which they will have to cross to reach the other end. The group carefully crosses it, one person at a time. Fred leads the way, followed by Guillaume and Cleo. Lot again is terrified, but somehow gets to the other end, however. When it is Catherine's turn, the bridge collapses midway, making her hang by the harness. Thankfully, the others pull her up, saving her life. But now the group cannot return back through the way they arrive. Fred asks everyone to gear up because they will have to reach the other end of the mountain as soon as possible. As the group continues their journey, they have to climb another stiff cliff. Fred and Catherine easily cross and set out to look for a way. They ask the others to stay put and say that they will return after they find a way out. After the couple goes into the woods, Lot moves around, making the rope move as well. Eventually, he hangs by the harness, screaming for help. The other 2 are also hanging by a rope, so there is not much they can do to help. Still, Guillaume lends a hand to Lot, but the situation gets worse when he also falls off the rope. Catherine and Fred, on the other hand, are looking through the jungle when Fred starts to hyperventilate. Catherine tries to help him when suddenly he steps on a bear trap and hurts his leg. It starts to bleed excessively, but the couple cannot seem to get it out. Fred asks Catherine to get the others first so they can help her move the trap. She obliges and runs to the cliff again with the rope. Seeing the condition Lot and Guillaume are in, she quickly helps them get up. A selfish Lot disregards Guillaume and climbs on top of him to save himself. Eventually, all of them get out safely and make their way to Fred. Meanwhile, Fred whimpers in pain while holding his leg, when suddenly he is pulled by the chain attached to the bear trap. Hence, when the group cannot find him, they are worried about his safety, especially Catherine, who's confused because he couldn't have gotten the bear trap off his foot by himself. She starts looking for him hysterically, but a coward Lot suggests they look for a way out first. He and Catherine get into an argument, which ends when Cleo says they should look for Fred first. The sun is almost about to set and all the flare lights are with Fred, so if they leave him behind, they won't make it out. The group gets together and looks for him all around. As they walk, Lot and Guillaume get into a heated argument regarding Cleo. Lot asks Guillaume not to talk to Cleo after the trip, but Guillaume smugly says that she isn't over him yet, revealing they were once together. Lot punches Guillaume and eventually the 2 fight each other. Cleo runs to them but falls into a deep pit on the way. The others ask her if she is fine but get no reply. The pit is pitch black, so they can't see what happened to her. Catherine ties a rope to a stone and uses it to go down the pit. Inside, she sees that the pit is actually a trap filled with sharp stones and branches. One of them has pierced through Cleo's arm, but other than that, she is safe. Lot and Guillaume watch them from above when Guillaume feels like someone is watching them. He tells Lot about this, only to be dismissed. They bring Cleo out and dress her wound. Just then, she remembers the time a child patient was killed because of her mistake. The incident has been haunting Cleo for a long time, but she hasn't been able to get it off her head. In fact, they planned this trip so she would feel better, but the plan has clearly failed. After they bring her out, Catherine tells them that someone has deliberately set the trap, so they should be careful. Then we are shown a clip of an unconscious Fred being dragged on the ground. Eventually the sun sets and it starts to rain, but the group keeps walking, still looking for Fred. Catherine is exhausted and feels hopeless, but Cleo motivates everyone to keep going. They believe that spreading out will make it easier for them to find him quickly, but are too scared to be alone. Hence they tie each other with the ends of the same rope so they can pull it in case they need help. Finally, they spread out, going deeper into the woods. Only a few minutes later, an arrow strikes Catherine, hurting her gravely. She falls to the ground and pulls on her rope, only to find out that someone has cut it. Just then, Cleo sees Catherine and runs to help her. But before she gets to her, someone pulls Catherine away with the chain attached to the arrow. The guys calm Cleo down and take her to a nearby area to rest. After the rain stops, the three continue the journey and reach a cabin in the woods. They believe they can finally get help and run inside quickly. However, shock and fear washes over them when they see a naked and bloodied Fred lying on a table. They try to help him, but he has been tortured and has lost a lot of blood. Slowly, as they watch him, Fred passes away. The three know that whoever did this to Fred will be back soon, so they plan to run away. But Guillaume claims that all the gears are with Fred, so they have to get his bag first. Lot doesn't want to go back inside the cabin, so Guillaume goes in alone to look for the gear. While searching, he finds a secret door on the floor that leads to a creepy room. He walks down and sees animal heads mounted on the wall, along with gears to hunt them. More disturbingly, he finds decapitated human heads hanging from the ceiling. A wall has the name Anton written on it. He finally finds the bag with supplies and makes his way out. Loic appears at the top of the stairs and stops Guillaume on the way. He gets the gear from the man and kicks him back into the room. Jealous of Cleo being closer to Guillaume, Loic locks him in the room and runs out to her. He lies, saying Guillaume is dead, and asks Cleo to run with him. She retaliates, not wanting to leave another friend behind. As the two argue, the cannibal and the owner of the cabin, Anton, arrive there with Catherine's dead body. He knocks Cleo out in one go and lets out a deadly scream. A terrified Lot backs up, but is attacked by Anton. He hits him repeatedly, almost killing him, but Cleo gets up at the right time and saves him. As she fights the psychopath, a cowardly Lot runs away with a flare torch, leaving her behind. Cleo is surprised, giving Anton a chance to hit her. He easily knocks her out with a kick. When Cleo wakes up a while later, she and Guillaume are tied in the basement while Anton tends to Fred and Catherine's dead bodies. He hears noises from the basement. He goes downstairs and brings Cleo up with him. On the other hand, Lot runs out of flares while running through the woods and has nowhere to go. Guillaume manages to untie his hands and free himself, but when he tries to go behind Cleo and Anton, the door is locked. Anton walks towards Cleo with a knife when Lot arrives and attacks him at the right time. He throws a stone at the man and runs away, making Anton chase him with his crossbow. Then Cleo opens the door for Guillaume and the two prepare to leave. Guillaume says that if they go looking for Loic, they will probably end up dead. He hands Cleo a knife and asks her to follow him, but Cleo insists on saving Loic first. Meanwhile, Anton hits Loic on his leg with a crossbow, making him yell in pain. The two fight, but Loic is easily overpowered. Lot acts brave for the first time in the movie and uses the arrow stabbed in his leg to attack Anton. He then hits the man repeatedly with a rock and crawls away from him. At last, he falls off a cliff and hangs onto a rod. Anton watches him fall off from afar and disappears from the sight. Guillaume and Cleo arrive at the scene and help Lot. As Guillaume pulls him up, he remembers what Lot did to him earlier and changes his mind. He acts like his hand is slipping and deliberately lets go of Lot. Cleo cries, mourning her boyfriend's death, while Guillaume comforts her with a hug. Right then, Anton hits Guillaume with a crossbow right on his head, killing him at last. Cleo screams in horror as Guillaume falls to the ground. In a fit of rage, she loses control and attacks Anton. She hits him with a knight that Guillaume had given her, and the two get into an intense fight. Anton overpowers her in an instant and hits her repeatedly. Suddenly, Cleo screams his name, making him stop abruptly. He composes himself and raises his hand again, but Cleo slashes his throat at the right moment. She gets on top of him with the knife to end him for good, but stops when she gets flashes of the patient that was killed because of her. So instead, she leaves him there to die. Cleo then escapes to the cable and in tearful joy begins the descent to safety. However, she has left her knife behind, which Anton takes up and goes to the cable. As Cleo is traveling down the cable, a loud snap is heard and the screen turns black, implying that Anton managed to cut the cable and kill her. The movie ends with a picture of the group taken before the trip is shown. And there you have it, Psycho Killer in the Mountains reminds us that not every adventure ends in joy. Would you have made it out alive? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this thrilling recap and want more spine-chilling content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Join our community of horror fans, and stay tuned for more terrifying tales. Until next time, stay safe and always watch your back.